All right, we've got our guest ready to go. Thank you, Tempe, for being brave and sharing with us. All right, guys. Oh, I like the new image, Ronnie. That looks
Oh,
great.
yeah, that's what I tried to do the first time before, and I wasn't sure I was connected. Good. Glad to hear you're connected.
Yes, I know. We just had a little delay in getting the next
Okay.
class in here, and then we had a student who just shared something. So we are ready.
Okay,
Okay.
good. And,
So this
and
is
am I
the
sitting in an
router.
okay position? Like I said, Zoom, I don't see
Yeah.
myself in the corner, so I can't tell. Just be sure and interrupt me and say move over or whatever.
Yeah, you are
Okay?
great. I'm gonna
Okay.
turn. I know you can't see them, but you guys, I'm gonna ask you guys. I asked my last hour. They wanted to see themselves up there. They like felt that kept them in check to be appropriate and
Yeah.
remember that like they are that. So is that okay, guys? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. Same rules
All
apply
right.
as if a guest was
All right.
in
And
person,
if
right? We
you if
slant.
you what you're recording this, I don't know if there's any way. Sometime I'd like to see how everything turned out,
Oh,
and that way I can see the class too. You can send me a link, or we'll figure it out. Okay.
yes. I will definitely do that. Yes.
And I think one of the things that we need to do this time that because at the end we ran out of time, if people
Yeah.
have questions while they think of them during this, just tell me to stop for a second. We have a question, whatever. We'll handle those as we go, so we don't because a lot of times you think about them and then afterwards you miss them. First, I hope you
Okay.
can you see my Chiefs hat?
Yeah. 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 Got
Oh,
one too.
Can you
okay,
guys
go
make sure you can
Chiefs.
hear you? Can you hear it?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your
Yeah.
response, guys?
Yeah. I love it.
Yes, go Chiefs.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I wanted to mention. I mentioned the last time too. In my hiking, I always wear my Chiefs hat, and it's so fun because I meet people from the Kansas City area, Missouri, so my hometown, Kansas. There's a lot from Kansas, a few from Iowa, people that don't have teams. It's great. It's a great. I've also hitchhiked into towns. So one of the things I do is I'm out for 3 or 4, all the way up to 7 days, and I'll run across. Usually, look for a road where I can hitchhike into a town. And a lot of times, people have stopped just because of my hat, and it's like, oh my parents or my grandparents are Chiefs fans, or I'm a Chief fan. So it's helped me because the other thing is, when you're backpacking, you look kind of like a hobo, sort of. That's probably an improper term, a homeless person. I mean, that's even, but I don't know if you can see my shirt. It says hiker trash, and that's an Appalachian Trail symbol. And a lot of us that hike, we call each other hiker trash. And if you ever see that on anybody, they're probably a through hiker of some kind. Okay, first, let me talk about, yeah, like I said, anytime you got a question, yell it out. Let me go
Okay.
to Bill
And
Bryson.
really
Is
quick, I
this
want to comment on that stuff for a
okay?
second. So guys, really the connections that I'm having and the connections I had for why I invited Ronnie to speak with you are all about culture and belonging right now. He's talked about circumstances through his Chiefs hat, right? Circumstances of being raised in the Midwest as he's a Chiefs fan. And then he uses that to connect with people on the trails and it gets him what he needs. It helps him out. So do you connect that to a sense of belonging?
Yes.
Yeah, that's due to location, partly due to environment and due to circumstances, the very stuff that we've been studying, right? And then the culture within the hiking community. He's already mentioned hiker trash. Like they have terminology, they have understanding within a group that shows that they belong, right? If you are not hiker trash and you come up to somebody and you're like, hey man, you're hiker trash, are you gonna feel like you belong?
Uh-uh.
No, you're probably going to question, like, what is this person saying to me, right? But if you're in that little community, you're in that culture of hiking, you're going to be like, oh, yeah, that's me. Hey, hiker trash, right? So, terminology, vocabulary, those help communicate your circumstances when you're in a group, and that leads to a sense of belonging. Okay, Ronnie, you're good.
Yeah, and that's part of that is because we're out in the woods for 3 to 7 days or a little longer before we get to a town and can take showers and stuff. So we don't smell very good. We go a long time without bathing sometimes. Sometimes we if it's warm enough, we can get in a river or a lake to wash off. I got started maybe 15 years ago watching, I read a book called A Walk in the Woods, which I have up there right now by Bill Bryson. I highly recommend it. It's not a long book and it's an easy read. And Bill Bryson is funny as heck. If any of you have, as I go through this, if you've read that book, or that goes back 15 years ago, that started me hiking, or you've seen the movie with Robert Redford, raise your hand, let Kelly know. It's really, really interesting. That got me motivated. It's a funny book too. You will laugh through it, and it's a true story about him and this other guy started hiking the Appalachian Trail. Again, that's what
Do you guys
really
like
got
funny books?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you like books about people's adventures and their life story?
Yes.
So you just got a great recommendation. And Ronnie, I have a question from one of my coworkers. This is
Okay.
Paige.
My name's Paige Feeney. Have you done the Camino de Santiago?
No, I haven't. No, but
Okay.
that's on my radar. I've got some friends that have done it. That's like you said, it's a pilgrimage where
Yeah.
you don't need you need like day packs, and you go between towns usually, and bed and
Yeah.
breakfast and cafes and
I've-
stuff. That
I've
sounds good.
I did the north one where we started in France and Pyrenees, and then the Portuguese route. So I didn't know. I just wanted to ask what route you did. But
Oh, I've
Okay.
watched a lot of videos on it though. There's a book, was it Estevez or something has a book or a movie? There's a movie out on it that's
Movie.
really good.
yep, I
Yeah.
can't recall right off the top of my head, but yes. Sorry, didn't mean
Yeah,
to interrupt.
No, and that's a great connection, guys, because Miss Feeney right next door has like a part of that same culture and belonging to being on trails and having the same experiences that our guest does. Yeah, no, I'm so glad you did that. That's awesome. Okay,
Yeah,
and
it's just
Tempe has a question. Tempe,
Yeah.
nice and loud.
Is the photo on the screen you?
That photo right there is me. If that's what you were asking. And that's an
Yep.
older photo, and it's my first backpack. The backpack probably weighed close to 4 pounds, believe it or not. My current backpack, that's a great question because I've evolved. That's probably close to 12, 15 years ago. This is my current backpack. And the pack, I'm talking about the pack itself. That pack weighed close to 4 pounds. This one is almost 1.5 pounds. And
Oh.
weight means everything in backpacking. For long distance backpacking overnight. So you'll see some other things that I talk about later that you'll understand why.
Okay, we've got 2 more questions.
Okay.
Okay, let's go Miss Alyssa first. So this is a adult supporter in my classroom, and she's got hiking experience also.
I'm just
Oh, good. We'll
curious
get them
what you
hiking
have
too.
your- Yeah. I'm curious what you have your base weight at.
My base weight the base weight, and most people quote these days as without food and water.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
food varies how long your each logistic stop. So if I'm gonna be out 3 days, I'll have 3 days worth of food, etc. Water weighs 2.2 pounds per liter, and I try to get by with a 1 or 1.5 liters. And I'm a little light compared to most people, but water weighs so much. So my base weight without food and water is about 18 pounds. So I'm not ultralight, but I'm light. I'm pretty light.
Yeah.
I started off, I was well over 30 pounds, my base weight, but it is a killer. The more weight you have, the tougher it is, which kind of leads me to, I may cover this again later, but people always ask, especially my family, they wonder too. They know what I do because they see me gone all the time, and they kind of have fearful for me a little bit. And I was like, don't you carry like my daughter, Dad, don't you carry a gun? No, there are some people that do. Not many through hikers do, because guns weigh a lot. And depends. And besides that, we're started out as myself. I started out afraid of the woods, the dark, especially by myself in the dark. It's also, it can first few times it can be a little scary even if you're with somebody. But I go out by myself till I'm used to it. I only have camped in all over the place, but I haven't camped in grizzly country. Black bears, I'm not concerned about. A little bit. I've gone to areas where they've posted black bears or maybe breaking into tents and stuff. That's a little scary, but there's very few incidents of black bears killing anyone. And so carrying a gun is not an option for me because of the weight. I digressed on that, didn't I?
No, you're good. It made me think to tell because you mentioned like that people get worried about you. And guys, that's kind of how I got this idea because, and you're probably gonna tell them, but he just finished a hike. I'll let you tell about it, but I was following him on Facebook mostly because it was so interesting and he was posting beautiful pictures and updating his progress because it was a very long hike. But also I was like just making sure he was okay, right? So talk about family members being concerned and like, are you all right? And like his daughter asking like what he was using to protect himself. And I'll let you tell about that trail, but I wanted to say like that's part of the reason that this came up as an idea is just because I was tracking his progress, interested to see how he was achieving, and it was just such a great story.
Yeah, that was the Colorado Trail. Just finished it last month. It took me 51 days. It's the longest I've ever hiked I've been gone for a hike. 51 days, and it was almost 500 miles. But it was beautiful. It was from Denver all the way down to Durango, almost to New Mexico. And I do town stops maybe every 3 to 7 days. Somewhere in there, logistics come in. I have to go resupply. So if I get part of the weight thing that was asked, I kind of figure about 1.2 pounds per day, full day. It includes dinner and breakfast. I'm not a calorie counter. Most of the really good and well-known backpackers count calories. So yeah, so it was the Colorado Trail, and it's the longest one. I've done a couple of 200-mile segments on the Florida Trail and the Appalachian Trail, a whole bunch of 150-mile segments. And then nobody else goes with me, so I go solo because most of my friends are still working that hike with me, and they can't be gone as long as me. So, but sometimes 3 to 4 days, I'll get some friends to go with me, which is fun too. I enjoy going with people, but I also enjoy being solo at the same time. So once I'm past a typical 3 to 4 day wait with everything, is somewhere around 25 to 28 pounds. So it's fairly light, but they've got ultralight people that go down. Oh my gosh, it's crazy how light they are.
I got another question.
Have
Yeah.
you ever hiked the Tour de Mont Blanc?
I hiked what?
The Tour de Mont Blanc?
Oh,
Where's
no,
that?
no, I haven't hiked anywhere out of the United States. Other than I did, oh no, that's not really a hike. I've been to Machu Picchu, and I might go back. I'm wanting to go back and do the Inca Trail in Peru, and but I've visited Machu Picchu, but I'd love to do the Inca Trail from
So
Cusco.
his dad has hiked the trail that he mentioned. So you've got some
Mont
people.
Yeah.
What was it called?
Like the Mont Blanc.
Mont Blanc Trail in Europe.
Yes,
And just out of curiosity, we asked this last time, but I didn't. Raise your hand if you know hikers. You know people in your life that hike. Okay, there's several. Okay, lots. Raise your hand if you have hiked a trail, even just locally. Okay, lots of hikers in this group. So this is good connection. Okay, other question. Okay, Kyle's got a question.
okay.
What is your next hike and where are you going?
Great question.
Yeah, it is. I'm at my age, I'm 77, and so I don't know how much longer I can hike. So far, I'm lucky enough to be healthy, and part of being healthy is hiking and walking. But I'm once either late next week or the week after, I'm going to try to get up and continue doing some of the Appalachian Trail. I've done about 900 miles from Springer Mountain in segments all the way up to the Shenandoah Mountains in Virginia. And so I'm going to go back up and probably try to get through the Shenandoahs and up to Harper's Ferry, which is the logical midpoint of the Appalachian Trail. I'm hoping to do that in a week or two. Yeah, I've done a lot of hiking this year. I started off early this year down in the Everglades and did one of what a lot of people consider the scariest hikes on the Florida Trail is 30 miles in the Everglades, where only just once in a while you come out of the water and you end up in a place where you can actually camp. And then later on this, or after that, I waited a few weeks. I went up in the Panhandle, and I'm now, the Florida Trail is like 1,100 miles roughly. Depends on what track you take around Orlando. But I only have about 150 miles to finish the Florida Trail, and I'm hoping to do that. So yeah, I've got another one coming up at hopefully in a week or two.
We got
and
two
also,
questions and then we'll, oh, go ahead.
okay, yeah, no, that's good.
Okay. And then I'll let you, because you have so much to share. I want them to get to it. Tempe, what's your question? Nice and loud.
Okay, so like, how like heavy is like a normal like handheld like gun? Like, how much does it weigh?
Okay, good question. Did you hear?
Well, if anything that weighs a pound, the saying in backpacking is ounces add up to pounds. So even small items, hikers are reluctant to take if they think they're not going to use it. And the gun probably weighs a couple of pounds if you get a light one, maybe a little over a pound if you get some super lightweight one. So I don't know. I really don't know a lot about guns. I actually, on the Colorado Trail, for a couple of weeks, I was close to a couple of hikers that normally would go off and leave me because they're younger and stronger and they do a lot more miles. But they would go off and do a 14K, 14,000 foot elevation mountain. Might take them a day, and then they would catch back up with me. Both of those hikers, the girl, I ended up naming her trail name. It was Crash because of a lot of reasons. The other guy was Skillet. He was a 21-year-old that had the heaviest pack of anybody I ever saw out on trail. They both had guns, which is rare. Most of the people I see do not carry guns. So it's up to you, and whether it's legal or not. Some places it's not legal to go through a place with a gun, but most
And
of
it's
the
probably
hikers
similar guys to think
Yeah.
about your backpacks. I see you guys carry these backpacks around and they are heavy. I don't know what you guys have in there, right? I know it's not books. We don't have textbooks, right? But like when you're packing your backpack in the morning, you're packing things that you're going to use, right? Hopefully, you're not going to put like, what's something you wouldn't put in your backpack for school?
I went,
Good choice.
a gun. I
Right, for
went,
sure.
Pack like, I don't know, like a globe or.
A globe. Or like your gaming system, right? You're not gonna play your gaming system at school. Okay, so it's kind of similar, guys. Like you pack what you need. And especially if you're on a 51-day hike, you're not gonna pack something that you don't absolutely need. Because you're gonna, every time you unpack it, you're gonna think, why did I bring this?
Plug your Xbox into a tree.
Yep.
Well,
Okay, and
typically,
then Sierra had a question.
Typically, what
Oh.
you guys, I guarantee you, most of them put stuff in because they think, well, I might need that, and it probably doesn't make any difference. You're just bringing it during the day. On a day hike, you do something similar. You might bring, more medical stuff of some kind, a big tube of toothpaste instead of a tiny one, whatever. After you've been hiking a while, you learn to go without some things. They say the biggest thing people do is they pack their fears. In other words, they're afraid they might need something, so they bring it. Well, you learn after a lot of hiking to watch out for the weight.
Has anybody ever overpacked for a vacation before? Yep, all the time, right? And I
Yeah,
love that
I do
term. You
too.
used that term at first hour about packing your fears. When I think about times I've overpacked my fears. Like, what if I run out? Well, guess what? I never have run out. So I love that. Okay, Sierra's got a
might need
question,
these
and we'll let
too.
you take it away.
Okay.
Sierra?
Have you ever climbed Pikes Peak?
I hiked down from Pikes Peak with a friend. There's a trail that runs down it. And Pikes Peak is over 14,000 feet. So if you're up there, you'll get to experience what pretty high elevation is. What I went through quite a bit of height on this Colorado trail hike because it's in Colorado just like Pikes Peak is. But yeah, it's high elevation. I've hiked down Pikes Peak many, many years ago before I ever started backpacking. the picture you see up there right now is what I started out doing was hammock, and that's a hammock with a tarp over it. And I went probably 2 or 3, at least 3 years in hammock. And I really enjoy the hammock because it's comfortable. You can use it as a seat, so you don't have to carry a chair, which I don't carry anyway. There's something that some people carry, and they make super lightweight ones. But yeah, so that's an old picture of me with my hammock. There's one at night, and that's in porch mode, so I can see out good. But you feel a little bit like a taco, in bear country, like a bear could come up and sniff you or whatever. It's not fearful. There's a more current one, well, maybe a couple years ago, and today, on the Colorado Trail, I switched from my tent to this tarp, just a tarp. Now, a lot of people get freaked out and won't do that because it's wide open, in their mind. And I guess it could happen. A snake could crawl in there with you, spiders, bugs, raccoons, or bigger animals in theory. So, but I've learned to really enjoy that because it's wide open. Sometimes I can just poke my head out and see the stars. I love doing that. In fact, my next hike, that's what I'm planning on doing, is the tarp. There's my tent, which I've done most of all my miles. I've probably done 2,500 miles total at least in the various trails. And that's a one-person tent. It weighs, I have it here. It weighs about 1.5 pounds, is all maybe 1 3/4, if you can see that. It's super light. I like it, but I'm going to go back to my tarp because of, I don't know, a change of pace or something. Let's see what else we got. Oh, a little. Now, the polite term for animal poop is scat. So that's bear scat. That's a bear, and I see a lot of this down here in Florida on the trail. That's part of on the Florida Trail. I'll put my foot down just to give you an idea of size. But so I see a lot. I've seen a lot of bear, or I've seen several bear up on the Appalachian Trail. And this is something I ran across in South Florida that was in my path. And both sides of the trail was kind of swampy. And so I couldn't immediately figure out if I could get around him. Plus, I was more afraid of him than I thought I would be because that's a big, big animal. He looks almost fake. But that's, in theory, for short distances, I think they can run pretty fast. You guys that may be something you can look up sometime. I've seen wild pigs, quite a few fox. You hear coyotes. Coyotes are kind of scary sounding because there's packs of them and they run. And a lot of times they run fairly close to you at night. And if you've ever heard coyotes barking, it's kind of scary, but I don't know if there's ever been a coyote attack, but it's still kind of scary to hear them. What other animals? Definitely a lot of snakes. I almost stepped on a coral snake. So coral snakes are the eastern coral is deadly poisonous. They're usually pretty small, but there's also a snake that looks similar that's not a poisonous snake. So it's like red on yellow will kill a fellow, or something's the same.
And I've got two
again,
questions real quick.
yeah.
Kyle?
So whenever my dad and a couple of his buddies went out and they went hiking and they went out into a big open field and they were brand new to going out hiking and going so far out into the woods. My dad had a recorder at the time and they heard coyotes, but they didn't know it was coyotes, and they got terrified because they thought it was kids laughing around them.
Oh.
And so he still has the recording, and he, like, you can hear him and his friends getting freaked out because there's no houses, no children that should be around in this area, and there's more than one laughing, and they know now that it was coyotes,
Right.
but they were terrified.
Terrified. Well, and
I've
I'm
gotten
sure
used to that. I've gotten used to that. At first, it scared me, and I'm out way deep in the woods. A lot of times, you don't even have cell service, and you hear them, and they're running around, and I'm by myself, at first it used to scare me a lot. Now I've gotten used to it. And that's one thing I've learned to face my fears and research, make sure that I've got a reason that maybe I shouldn't be so afraid. But yeah, I would say the biggest animals you need to be afraid of. Well, first of all, if you camp somewhere, make sure all food, even toothpaste, anything that smells, you either hang a bear bag, what they call a bear bag, you keep it away from you, or anyway, it's a long story, but that's something you need to be careful of. Moose, I saw a moose on my Colorado Trail hike, and they are more deadly than bears in a way because I think they've killed more people because you just need to know your animals that are wherever you're going. There's panther in South Florida, which is kind of scary to think about at night when you're by yourself in the like the wood hammocks and stuff. There hasn't really been any attacks that I'm aware of, so it's rare. But yeah, the coyotes, you got to bring that recording in and let everybody hear it. I've got, if you go out to my YouTube channel, it's Hiking with Rookie. Rookie is my trail name. That's a short story on how I got my trail name, but I have a bunch of times where I stop or I'm in the middle of the night and I'm laying in my tent or hammock or whatever, and I record. I say, listen to the coyotes. So there's a few places where I have it, but bring your recording and let everybody hear it, and think about being out in the woods or mountain by yourself and hearing that sort of sound.
Yeah, I'll
This-
definitely bring it
Yeah.
someday.
We've got several more questions. We'll go fast. Tempe,
What's the most dangerous animal you've seen?
most dangerous animal.
Humans.
Yeah.
In a way, I'm
Me
not
too.
joking. I mean, in a way, you need to. You need to be careful of the people you're around. You meet people out on the trail, and everybody's kind of rough looking and dirty, so you can't use that as a criteria. But once in a while, I've met some people that I thought a little shady. But for the most part, everybody through hikers are wonderful people. Hikers are really good people. But I think the moose I saw was probably potentially the most dangerous. I ran across a day hike. I did run across, this is a scary story for me, a grizzly bear. I was up in Glacier. My wife and I have a camper, and I went for a day hike on the Continental Divide Trail. And I was by myself. Usually there's signs that say, don't hike by yourself, don't do this, don't do that. But I had nobody to hike with. So I hiked out and I ran across a grizzly bear. That's the scariest I've ever been. Other than, I think you guys might have watched one of the videos that I did where I went through a swamp. I didn't see anything, but it's dark, and wading through water from your knees up above your waist in the dark in a swamp was scary to do. But the scariest animal was the grizzly bear. Sorry.
Question from Abel.
Well, it's not really a question, but I can kind of relate. I was out in Arkansas with my cousins, and they live pretty much in the middle of nowhere. And there's this giant lake in front of their house, but straight across from the lake, it was almost nighttime. We could see the giant black panther just sitting in a tree.
Oh my gosh.
It was huge.
Wow.
Oh
It
yeah,
sat there
it
the
was a
whole night, though,
panther.
and then, yeah, it sat there the whole night, and then in the morning it was still there.
Wow.
Panthers, I mean, mountain lions, you've probably seen videos of people getting almost attacked by mountain lions out in the West. And a panther is, about the same type of an animal. It's scary. They are so stealthy that there's an old saying, which is probably, it may not be true, but they say if you see a mountain lion or a panther, you might be in trouble because they don't normally, you'll never see them unless they're hunting you, which I don't necessarily believe, but they're a stealthy animal. And yeah, I'd love to see one during the day at a distance. I've run across tracks of them in South Florida, the panther. And it's like, oh boy, there's been a panther here. And I'm to the point where I'm hoping I see them at least in a day.
Not me. Okay, question from Evelyn.
Last summer we went on a vacation to Utah and Colorado, and we did a couple of shorter hikes. But I remember we stopped at this little store and they had bear repellent spray. I was just wondering if you've ever used it or seen anyone that's used it or know if it works.
Yes, I didn't used to use it or have any even till I vacationed out there in Glacier and ran across that grizzly. Then after that, I started carrying bear spray. bear spray is way more potent than other sprays. And it's actually another animal on the Florida Trail, because sometimes we do a lot of road walks in the back area. Some people have some pretty big vicious dogs. And we had, I was hiking with a great big old mountain of a guy one day, and we was coming down a road, and he carried a bear spray on his shoulder up here, and he knows how to use it, because it's a couple of, I think one was a pit bull, I don't know if the other was German Shepherd, but came out aggressively at us, and I watched him. He reached up there, grabbed it, sprayed it well before they got to us, maybe 5 foot, probably 15 foot before them. And both of them, even though it wasn't on them, he didn't want to hurt the dogs. So he does that as a warning. And that happened 2 different times. They turned and ran. And these were vicious appearing dogs. So yeah, I've seen somebody use it, and he knew how to use it. If you ever get bear spray, practice once with it. But when you press it, be prepared for it to jump out, because it's high pressure. Yep.
Okay, yep, another question from Lydia.
So you said like that like animals like when you're sleeping could like come up to your like hammock or like little tarp bed thing. Have you ever like woken up like an animal like sniffing you or like getting into your like
Space.
sleep bag with you? Like
Well, I've seen, there's sometimes I hear you can kind of get appreciation for the size of an animal by the sound. But one of the big animals that is probably more frequent, but will freak you out if you don't see them at night, is a deer. Deer is a big animal, and they make a lot of noise, like a bear or that. And they also have super bright eyes. If you watch that video I had, I'm sure that was a bear in that video, because the eyes weren't great, big and glowing. It was still a big animal, and bears will kind of pop up. I've had raccoons, I've had foxes approach me, which is really weird because you'd think they'd be afraid. Approach me. Armadillos are crazy animals. They're kind of cute, but they don't pay any attention. They'll run right up to you, and yeah, I've had those come up. And then the other thing you got to watch for is mice and rats. Most of the time they're in shelters and not out by themselves, at least on the Florida Trail or ATU sections I've done. And they can chew through your backpack and all kinds of things. So they're a nuisance.
We've got about 7 minutes, so I'm going to let you go and on with your pictures and things, and we'll kind of hold questions for now.
I'll run through them real quick now. This is the Florida Trail, and I've done, if you go down, I hope I don't screw this up, but if you go down to the very bottom, that's the Everglades down there. I've hiked from there all the way up this lake, big lake it circles, it's Okeechobee, and I go on the west side, the left side, because there's more potential resupply spots. And I've gone all the way up, and then you get to Orlando, there's 2 sides. I've done the entire right corridor and half of the left corridor. So, and then I've gone all the way up. From there up north is Ocala Forest. And then as it starts to turn back to the left, you get to the Panhandle. So I'm all the way up. If you see Tallahassee, and then a little bit left of there, there's a river. Well, down south of there is Panama. So I'm going to go back maybe in January and hike from there, hopefully all the way to Pensacola. That doesn't show Pensacola. Pensacola, there's the northern terminus of the Florida Trail is there. And then that'll be, so like I said, I've done over 900 miles on this trail, and I'm just about done with it because it's only 1,100 miles. This one, here's what they call the Triple Crown. And the one on the right, the red line on the right, you should be able to read it. It's Appalachian Trail. The one in the middle, and that's 2,200 miles. The one in the middle is the Continental Divide Trail. That's from Mexico to Canada, or vice versa, whether you're going northbound or southbound. And that's somewhere around 3,000 miles. And the Pacific Crest Trail is the one on the left. I think it's like 2,600 miles, something like that. So those are the most well-known national trails that people do. And if you've done all 3 of them, then you've done the Triple Crown. This one is, I found a map of kind of almost, I think it's all the national trails. So those 3 are on it and more. And then this one I wanted to show everybody there because Missouri's in there. This is, it's as it says, is the American Discovery Trail. There's a lot of road walking, but Missouri's a good spot. If you take, people have the option of going the northern route that goes up through Iowa or the southern route that's at Loop. And it will, the southern route goes across, uses the Katy Trail, which is real close to you guys. In fact, I've done 120 on the Katy Trail on a bicycle. It's like a bicycle path as well. Some people camp, but most people ride bikes. And I've gone halfway. In fact, with Miss Kelly's dad and my brother, we've done half of it until her dad fell over and hurt his shoulder, so we needed to quit. So I need to come back up and do the other half. And there's what you don't want, a big backpack. That's one I always laugh about. Somebody says you overpack. Well, that's overpacking. It's a joke. People don't really do that much. Okay, that's pretty much all. I could go through my backpack real quick.
Yeah.
I
Wanna go through?
I think I
Yeah.
can.
Okay, Sierra has a
And then-
question while you're doing that.
Okay.
Have you ever,
Super.
you finished the Triple Crown?
Oh, no, I won't. At my age, I don't think I will. I want to finish the Florida Trail, which I will probably do in January. And I don't think if I go up in a couple of weeks through the Shenandoahs, I'll be close to half of the Appalachian Trail, close to 1,100 miles. A halfway point somewhere around Harper's Ferry. So I don't know if I'll have time or if my health will be such. I'm just enjoying hiking, and no, I won't be able to do the Triple Crown. But you will probably be able to, because you can hike all the way up into your 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s and 70s. So if you really love doing that sort of thing, that might be a goal.
Tell them about your observation about women on the trail and about how
yeah.
empowering that is.
Here we go with some more yard work out there. We
We can't hear it.
You can Google it too. I use Gemini for AI. In fact, I generated my picture with the bear behind me with AI. But you can Google it. But I said, I wonder, I've met so many girls and women on, I'm guessing close to half on the Colorado Trail. And they are, I mean, don't think that women and girls don't go out there solo by themselves and are really strong hikers. Some of the strongest hikers are women and girls. And they had one's out there right now. You might want to follow her, Madison. I think it's Madison something, but her trail name is Peg Leg. And she is finishing a calendar year Triple Crown, where from January to December of a year, she's doing the Eastern Continental Trail, which is from Key West to Canada, and also does the Appalachian Trail and the other two trails. And she does about 40 miles a day. That's unbelievable. But that's just to go to, I just want to mention that to let you know that, hey, it's all genders do that sport, and there's some really tough ladies out there. I couldn't compete with the women I met. That's for sure.
Okay, Jesse has a question.
Okay, good.
When you hike across the country, do you hike back or do you take a plane back?
Good question.
Okay, yeah, that's a good question. I used to drive my car and try to find trailheads or places where I could park it where I thought it was safe and nobody'd break into it. And then maybe I'll get a shuttle or pay somebody to take me back to it when I'm done hiking, when I'm doing solo. If I'm going with somebody, we can do car manipulation back and forth. But lately, all the big trails, I found Amtrak from Orlando down south, close to where I wanted to start my hike in January. And then I've taken buses. I'm going to probably take a bus. I rarely fly. The other thing is it's always hard to know. I don't know when I'm going to finish, because I can't count on the fact that I don't know if you hear that, but it's raining here in Florida.
No, we can't hear it.
I've taken a bus, which is a lot cheaper, and the train, and then I flew out to Denver and then flew back from Denver. But yeah, all means of transportation. And then when I'm on
Another
a trail,
question.
I need to go. Yeah.
I got a question from Noah, and then we're about to dismiss, but I want to tell you guys, if you have questions, stay. I will write you passes to your next class. And if not, we understand you'll have to get out of here, but go ahead, Noah, with your question.
What's the coldest and hottest temperature you ever hiked at?
Oh, good question.
Okay, that's a really good question because the Colorado Trail, I call myself a Florida boy now, even though I was raised in Missouri near Kansas City. But I've been down here 45 years, and I hit the first month. It took me 51 days, so over a month, almost 2 months on the Colorado Trail. Most of the time, I'm up in high elevation, and even though I started in mid-July, it was down in the 30s every night. And that was cold. It was hard for me to get out of my sleeping bag, and I'm an early morning person. But I've hit 20 plus in the early days here. I've hit some 20-degree weather down here in Florida. It's rare, but I've done that. It's really cold and miserable. Heat, I try to stay out of the heat, but I've run into, sometimes I hit I don't go out when it's going to be hot. Like right now, I won't hike in Florida. It's in the 80s right now. And no, not till it gets, I like to get, I love low 50s, 50-degree weather. And I'd like it to get above 70, but sometimes the weather, you don't have a choice.
I have a question. What's the longest trail you've ever hiked?
The Colorado Trail was almost 500 miles. It's 483 or 86, depending on if there's any 1 year they reroute sometimes. But after the 500 miles, I've done a couple of 200-mile segments. As I say, a segment. So I've done.
Copy. Over here, guys. Okay. Anybody else, guys? Questions? They've been packing up and listening. So when you walk,
Thank you.
okay.
Forgot about me.
I'm sorry, Noah's you have a question? Okay, come up here. Come up here. Okay, Noah's got a question.
What is the
Okay.
longest distance that you've ever hiked?
The longest, like during like a day, you mean?
Yeah.
The longest is around 20 miles for me, where you get younger people, maybe 20, they'll go 20 to 30 miles or more, but 20 is really far for me. I do 12 to 15 or 16 miles a day.
What was your favorite trail that you've done?
Oh, they all have some pluses and minuses. The last one I did was the Colorado Trail, and being from Florida, the Colorado Trail has just fantastic views. If you go out and watch my YouTube channel, you'll see a lot of great views. Go out and watch it on a big screen TV if you get to. But I love that because of the views. The Appalachian Trail is known for the green tunnel. In other words, you're in the woods a lot, and then once in a while you'll have a view where you can either walk out to or it'll come out to, and then you have a good view. But I would say the Colorado Trail, just because of the fantastic views at elevation, they're a lot.
What color do you like to wear the most when you're hiking?
What was that?
What color do you like to wear the most when you're hiking?
I like red. I wear red, and then I've got a light blue hoodie that I wear that covers my arms, and you can put it up if the sun or it's cold. Put it up over your head, but light blue, and it's meant for hiking, so it aerates good. I sometimes wear this shirt if I'm going to be somewhere where there's other hikers, because we all get a good laugh out of it. Not everybody wears a shirt that says hiker trash, but they all know what it means. Oh, I also wear Ultra shoes. These are trail runners. They're super light, and when you walk through water, rivers or whatever, they'll bleed out, they'll drain the water really good.